Hi everyone, welcome to another World of Tanks interview. This week, we're speaking to South Sydney Scorpions legend JT. Thank you so much for joining us here today, JT.
Thanks, Jim. Nice to be here, back
Yeah,
again. Season
that's
4.
that's it. Oh, I can't believe we're 4 seasons into this already. It's such a wild ride.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I
Oh.
think I've done an interview with you in season 2 and 3. So
Hmm.
yeah, time kind of goes by pretty quick. The
Hmm.
off seasons feel slow, and then it starts up, and
Yeah,
yeah, we're like 6 weeks into the league already.
that's
So
it. The first match into the double round robin, and you got to be getting a good idea on where teams are at the moment, and seeing how they're performing. Like particularly the Sentinels, the last couple of weeks just seem to have turned it on, and like it's probably a little bit of a oh, what's the right word? A little bit of a cliche at the moment, but you can never discount them, really, can you? Because they somehow find a way, and they'll blow teams away.
yeah, no, for sure. I think there's a certain pecking order in the PL, I guess.
Yeah.
Even with a lot of teams apart from ourselves making a lot of roster changes every season, like most of the time the core of the team stays together, so the gameplay for that team and the kind of direction, the leadership never really changes for most teams. Like they're slotting in pieces here and there, but the actual core stays the same. So, the calling's usually the same, strats are relatively similar, map styles, picks, kind of hover around the same. So I think, at least myself, I would imagine it's the same for a couple of teams or a couple of other people's opinions that coming into the season, people kind of just judging off paper and past experiences with the other cores of the teams that they probably expected the standings to somewhat look like what they are now. I think in the first couple of weeks, some teams might have been artificially inflated or deflated on points. I mean, it's ANZPL. There's some wacky results every now and then, but I think after last Friday's games, I think that right now the standings are looking pretty much what I would have expected going into the season, and I would be surprised if they look too different at the end going to playoffs.
That's it. Well, yeah. Speaking of wacky results, I'd feel a bit remiss if I didn't mention it. But last place Panthers beating first place Conquerors last week. I put 10,000 channel points on them just because I had the channel points there, and I thought,
I
yes,
had
let's do it. And
I
yeah,
put 20, so I'm with
really,
you.
yeah, and but honestly, that was a bit of surprise for me because Conquerors have been playing really well. But you mentioned in your little spiel there about how your cores of teams will still stay together. But not Sentinel, sorry, Scorpions in particular. I get like my S's mixed up. There's too many S's between Sydney Scorpions and Sydney Sentinels. But Scorpions, your core has stayed very, very similar almost since the inception of the ANZPL. And so, how has that managed to put you in good stead? Because you're just such a great team, and the way that you play together, you've I'm guessing you've learned a lot of how each other plays now, so you know what to expect.
Yeah, I think so. I think there's obviously a lot of upsides to playing with the same roster for a long time. I mean, most important. I mean, the main reason that our roster has stuck together for so long is because we like playing together. It's not. I mean, obviously, if it was purely off performance, losing in what losing in semis 3 seasons in a row, the first 3 seasons, might be time for some changes. And it's not like it hasn't been thought about. I'm sure it's been. I mean, it's been thought about by me. I'm sure it's been thought about by the guys on my team. Right? It's every season you're like, do I want to play with these same guys again? 4 seasons is a long time. It's like what, almost 2 years, right? So
Mm.
obviously we enjoy each other's company to some degree, but at the same time, there's positives, but there's also negatives. People get complacent with each other. Knowing for so long. People might start letting effort slip and stuff just because, oh, it feels the same as it has for 3 seasons, kind of thing. Like where it becomes a routine almost. Um, so it's just yeah, it's really balancing. It's a fine line of balancing whether things are you always want to be improving and sometimes it can really stagnate. I think especially for us the last 4 weeks. Basically the week before we lost to Bulldogs. Um, I'm just gonna be straight up and be honest. Like, I'm surprised that we won against Conquerors. I'm pretty surprised that we smashed AX on Friday. I'm surprised we even got 2 games off Sentinels. Like, we're playing worse than, in my opinion, I think we were playing worse than we did in Season 1 for the last 4 weeks. So, yeah, I think we've made a couple changes. Hopefully they rectify the issues, but I think it might come off as cocky, but I think most people would agree we're probably expected to be a top 3 team at least, in most circumstances. So, yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, as long as you keep winning in match days, things are good, right? But playoffs is what really matters. So it's always a build up, and I'm sure it's the same for every other team. I mean, I'm sure Sentinels are the same. You know, like you said, they're really flipping the switch, turning it on recently. But at the same time, it doesn't really matter until playoffs. So, you know, it's kind of like you wanna cruise in the as much as you can in the regular season. While, you know, obviously you still want to get the highest seed you can going into playoffs. But playoffs is where things really need to switch on. So yeah.
Well, and that's a good thing about that. They've made a change to the playoffs this season. So previously, it's been the top 4 go through to playoffs, 1 plays 4 and 2 plays 3, and whoever wins out of those games goes into the grand final, pretty much. So this season, 1 plays 2, and the winner of that goes straight into the grand final, and the loser of that plays the winner of 3 and 4. So I think that's going to be more of a benefit to show the teams that have been performing and rewarding those teams that have been performing. Because if you're finishing 1 and 2 and you've been playing so well for the whole season, getting that second chance, that's your reward for playing so well.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's benefits for both the 1 seed and the 2 seed. I think it makes complete sense. Double elim playoff bracket makes more sense than single in almost every game or sport, in my opinion. You know, you can look at it from both sides. First place, they get a week off and another match to watch who they're playing. You know, whether it's the 2 seed, 3 or 4 seed, you get to watch a full match, and possibly, well, you get to watch 2 matches on whoever you're going to be playing in the grand finals, and have a break for that and prepare that way. Whereas the 2 seed gets that second chance, you know, to get to the finals and get revenge in the finals. So yeah, I think double elim is really good, and it should make for some very interesting storylines for sure.
Yeah, and I'm definitely looking forward to it as well, because like as interesting it was to see the Panthers come from 7th in the last round to make the grand final, like the fact that they managed to pull off that win against Sentinels. Really, Sentinels should have got the second chance.
I think Panthers are I would say the dark horse. In my opinion, I think they're the dark horse out of apart from in season 2, 3, and 4, or maybe not 2, but definitely 3 and 4. I think they're the dark horse. Like outside of the, I guess, the favorite teams, I would say that they're by far the most likely to go the furthest. So, in my opinion.
Yeah, as you know, the Panthers fan, I would like to see it, and you might you probably can't see it on the webcam that you can see through, but on the recording webcam, I've got my Panthers posters back up again, so you can see it. Yeah, they're still there. Yeah. I've had to lower them a bit so that people can see them, but they're there, and I don't hide that I have Panthers bias, but I'm trying not to be that way. But
I mean, bias is perfectly fine. Everyone has a favorite team, right?
Mm-hmm.
I got a little bit of Panthers bias when I got channel points on the line. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, that's I must admit that's a really cool thing that the ANZPL and the BL as well has done is things like the fantasy league and even the betting on the channel point. So you've got a stake in the game, so you want to see a team that wins, and you just get to know the league that much better.
Mate, if I put 20k on Panthers, I'm gonna pretend like I'm not even playing on the Scorpions. They're my favorite team. Let's go Panthers! Like, I got 100k return from that bet. So like, they're my favorite team at the moment. They've done a lot for me. You know, I think Napalm put on 100k or something. I think he has 500k points or something.
Jeez, yeah, no, I got like 55 from my 10k, and I just thought I'm sitting in there. I got 40k channel points. What else am I going to spend them on? Let's go. Let's go Panthers.
Exactly.
But I want to have a bit of a chat about your game on Friday night against the Action X. So specifically the first match on Prokhorovka, which Prokhorovka was the Action X's map choice. After
Yeah, well, yeah.
you guys are just demolishing teams on mines at the moment. I think you got 100% win rate this season, which is incredible. And I can't believe people don't ban out that map choice for you. but
Yeah, I
but
think a lot of teams are scared to try and block pick because there's no actual bans. The only way to technically veto a map, I guess, in the regular season is if both teams pick the map.
mm,
And I feel like most teams don't really consider that. I think well, I mean, I can't say for sure. I don't know the insides of other teams, but I think Conquerors tried to do it tried to do that to us last week with not picking Himmelsdorf. They picked it 5 weeks in a row, and then since I guess we're possibly by other teams, we're seen as a team that likes to try and block out their favorite maps of other teams if they're super dominant on it. So we picked Himmelsdorf, but there's always the risk that they pick up on that and they don't pick Himmelsdorf, and then you just end up picking the map for them. So they basically get 2 picks,
yeah,
which is what happened against Conquerors. So you kind of need to be comfortable enough that if shit does go wrong, that you can still play that map, even though it's not really what you wanted. And that kind of, we were definitely considering it for Proc as well. We were very close to first picking Proc because we thought that there was probably a very high chance that Action X, judging by their past picks over the previous seasons, Proc is like their most played map. So there was a pretty good chance that they picked it, but we decided, we like Proc a lot as well, so why block it? Let's just let them, if they take it, whatever. Like, we're gonna get it we're gonna get a second map in the pool anyway. Let's pick mines. We know they don't like mines, and let's see what we can do.
Yep.
So that's how we decided to come up and end up playing on Proc.
And I must admit, when I first started watching World of Tanks, Prokhorovka was not one of my favourite maps. I think it was back in season 1 and 2 was a pretty defensive map, but now it seems like there's a lot of action that happens on there, and it's fast becoming one of my favourite maps to watch. And particularly when we have a look, we'll have a look at the match that you guys played, the first Prokhorovka match against Action X there. So you guys were on defence, and I'm not quite sure how it all started or if this was the plan to begin with, but you had Aussie come over to this middle bit on the train line, and just so happened to run into CJ in the T100 there. Was that kind of planned, where you thought that they would go there, or was that a bit of luck that you managed to spot out CJ there?
So usually I would say it goes for both attack and defense. T100 is usually always going to do a mid run. It's either going to go across the tracks or it's going to go to the left, back towards the 1-2 line.
Deep down here,
Yeah. But it always will do a run mid first. And as you saw in that game, crossing the tracks opens you up to get shot by all the heavies. It's not like we stopped and sat there and aimed for 30 seconds. It was just like, you kind of get a feel for the timing. Our CS is crossing. It's roughly when their T100 is going to cross, blah, blah, blah. So, we maybe slowed down for a slight second and just aimed. And, 4 tanks, 2 shots hit. There you go. Free damage. Why not? I mean, there's not really many places for the T100 to go. If he didn't go there, we would have been 1 second slower to mid. You know what I'm saying? There's literally no downside to aiming for that shot. So we just got free damage. Aussie would have got another shot of damage. I don't know if he just didn't aim or if it just bounced or he missed when he was in the buildings. But I saw CJ snapped him back on the move at 70 kilometers driving away, and Aussie did not sound very pleased about it in voice chat when it happened.
I could imagine. That's not a shot that you'd be swearing a little bit and you go, what the hell is he doing?
Man, I swear, these T100 players on these other teams, oh man, when I'm playing T100, I ain't doing any of that, that's for sure. I ain't hit no shots on the move, so I need some of what CJ and Whippet are smoking, because it's good.
But
yeah.
Yeah, so after that little bit, and CJ sort of trundled off down here with half health, and Aussie's here, but I don't remember the exact point that they got lit up, but you had the two Action X tanks in here. and with your tanks, which to my mind was a really aggressive play, because normally you probably try and leave some tanks down the back here to defend, and maybe probably one right on the sort of A6 line there just to spot out. But you guys have pushed really high forward, and you've caught these two tanks out here, which has allowed you to dump over and even get Aussie to come back over the line. So you basically had a 2v5 match going up there, and that just sets you up for the rest of the game.
Yeah, so we definitely went in with that plan in mind. To go mid. Obviously, there's backup plans with that lineup. Like you said, it could be played very defensive. If we saw like a lineup that we really didn't want to fight mid, and there was a chance they went mid, we could have just played defensive, very standard. We didn't have a Batchat or T100, so I think Batchat T100 kind of usually are the tanks you'd bring if you want to play aggressive defense. I mean, I don't think on aggressive defense you usually want to bring double S-Conk, BZ, IS7, so we were hoping that maybe AX weren't expecting us to do that. What they opened with was a very standard opening. One tank defending like the IS7 in the hull down on the 1-2, just in case there was a push coming there, it could survive. One tank anchoring at like J6, and two in mid while the T100 scouts. One on the hill while the T100 scouts, and like. Yeah, I mean, we just drove mid. Our CS that crossed the track saw the S-Conks back at H5. Like, we saw them super early, and I said to the team, like, we talked about it before we went into the game, like, if we see three tanks or less here, like, let's just be aggressive on them. We don't have to dive over on them, but trade our health weight to kill them, because they've just isolated themselves. We have 5 tanks in the middle ready to kill them. We should be able to kill 3 tanks. Any HP loss, even if we lose 1 tank for it, the game should be over. Like, we should win if we kill what's in the middle. So as soon as we saw those 2 tanks going there, like, it was over. It was like, I pulled up, I got 1 shot. We had double S-Conks, so obviously they're a bit slower than what a VZ and an IS7 would be. So I got 1 shot for free, and I just waited. I didn't drive over straight away, obviously. And the S-Conks kept committing. They got closer, and we dived over with we left the 2 S-Conks at the top of the ridge. They're the sniper, they're the DPM. You never want to dive in with them, basically, unless, you really have to. We dived in. I was just expecting to die. I kind of lived forever. They didn't shoot me much, so we just cleaned them up, and yeah, it's just a domino effect. They didn't have the firepower to get out of there. Like, they had a CS on the hill, which was useless. IS7 on the 1-2 line did a couple shots of damage, but in the end, it was useless. I mean, IS7's not really a tank you put there to snipe. Maybe if it was a Striv, we would have been worried, but it's an IS7. So, same with T100. It's, like, tickling us. And yeah, I really had to go halfway through the game. So after we killed those S-Conks, I was pretty much out of there. I think you could see in the stream that I was not at my computer when we won. So
yep. Yeah, I did notice you weren't in the last game as well. I wondered where you'd ducked off to, but I think there was a few comments in chat that he had to poop.
That's right. I had to go. I got home and I was waiting, and then before I knew it, the match started. I was like, guys, let's make this quick.
Yeah. Well, then you certainly did that, because after that on this match, like, it was pretty much done. Like, Val was over here. I think this was you here, and Val eventually managed to get you, but the IS over here was gone. CJ managed to make a little bit of a pest of himself. Got a few shots off, but eventually he had nowhere to go. He didn't have the damage output, and I think he ended up killing himself pretty much with a ram. So tried to ram another tank and just went, "Yep, cool, we're done."
Yeah, I mean, a bit more stylish than just getting shot by an S-Conk 3 seconds later.
But that's it. So. Little bit Leroy Jenkins. May as well take it. Yeah, cool. But yeah, so that was that match there. You ended up winning that one 3-1, so congratulations on that. And haven't done my research properly. I'm not quite sure where you're sitting, but I know it's top 4. It's, I think, 3rd or 2nd.
I believe we're 2nd. I think.
Yeah, because actually I think Conquerors have dropped down to 3rd now.
Third, I believe, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, you're well positioned for the rest of the season. 4 more rounds to go before playoffs. Before we finish off, I do want to ask something, because it's something I've noticed on Himmelsdorf in particular. So a lot of the play in previous seasons has been on, I think it's the 2 flag up north.
Yeah.
But a lot of the play this season seems to be happening around the one flag. Um, I asked CJ about this when I spoke to him before, but their strats still seem to be centered around the northern flag there. But I've noticed you're one of the teams that's been playing the other flag a lot. Is that just trying to develop new strats because Himmelsdorf has been played a lot, and the strats for the northern flag are pretty well known at this point?
I this might be a bit of a unique case, NPL, but I would say that Himmelsdorf is probably the only map for Scorpions where we really haven't changed anything since season one. Our attacks, if we have the chance to go to the one cap, we will always go there. Even in season one, we were going to the one cap. I think we had some time loss games going to the one cap against Conquerors or something, if I remember right. But yeah, I personally, I really like the one cap. The problem with one cap is it's super easy to defend. Two cap is not as easy to defend. So pretty much the only way you can go to the one cap is if you find the positioning of the defense and they're basically not defending it. Because, like you said, a lot of teams are used to going to the north cap. So you're kind of seeing a bit of a meta shift where like defense is kind of, rather than defending tracks and retaking the two cap, they're kind of almost leaning towards just like setting a trap at the two cap. I mean, you saw it in our game versus Conquerors last week. They had a trap on the 8 line, and we don't see any tanks. Like, we're not going to drive there. Let's just drive. You know, we can see all the way down the tracks. There's no way there could be a trap there, right? So we're just going to drive down the tracks.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that it's definitely a more nuanced attack to go to that cap. There's a lot of positions that you need to have, and there's a lot of positions, like I said, that you can't take if they're defending it without just losing tanks or an irrecoverable amount of health. So it's pretty much if the opportunity's there, then we personally will always go to one cap if the opportunity presents itself. I think other teams, there's a lot of the time, from what I've seen at least, is maybe just my opinion, but I feel like they would rather try and fight into the trap. Like, they recognize that there's a trap or something, and they would rather try and counter the trap, if that makes sense, and just go for the fight rather than going for the, I guess, harder execution play of the cap pressure on the one cap, because you're so spread out when you do it. That's the thing. So, but yeah, no, I think that
I do feel on Himmelsdorf though, if you're going for that one flag capture, like there's some pretty good bolt holes there. Like there's the hang on, let me bring up the map in.
I mean, there is a lot of good defensive angles, but like I said, it's very taxing to get into those positions. For example, like if you have a tank on the one cap, you need a tank at E1 to stop them resetting from A1. You need things covering the courtyard in case they come through the courtyard to shoot you inside.
Yeah.
You know, like it's just a lot of setup which is virtually impossible to gain if they're actively defending it. Like if they have 3 tanks like in the hangar and 3 tanks at C3 or something, like you can't just drive to E1. Like you can't just drive onto the one cap. Like it's not possible without taking a lot of damage. And
there's a lot of vacant area through like the southern 1 and 2 lines around here. But once you set up at like E1 here behind the building, you've got a tank here maybe.
Yeah, I mean it's very similar. We haven't really seen it this season, but it's very similar on Muravenka, the open cap. Same situation. It's very. You need a lot of positions to make it work, and they need to not be defending it for you to take those positions, which is why you see a lot of teams go for the close cap on Muravenka, because, well, frankly, it's just easier. Like and that's not a bad thing. It's a good thing. Like, why would you want to make it hard on yourself? You know, you're going to go for the thing that is easier to execute and more likely to get you the win, rather than the risky play that could pay off, or you could just get wiped off the floor. You lose 1 tank because they're out of position, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But like you were saying on Proc, I think that the meta is definitely shifting away from, you know, like I said, with the cause of teams staying together, they're getting more used to playing together, getting more used to the meta. See a lot more aggressive defenses. A lot of the maps that were campy are becoming less campy. Proc, good example. Himmelsdorf, good example. In a different way, maybe not less campy, but like I said, the setups are changing. You know, coming more towards countering rather than just static defenses.
Yeah,
Um,
and
same
the defense
on
heavy
Ghost.
maps,
Yeah.
like your Muravankers and your Sand Rivers, you're not seeing as much of anymore.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, I think people are wanting to get away from them, and when you do see those maps, Sand River especially, I think, at least from my experience in this season, a lot of teams are trying to play a lot more aggressive comp. A lot Prance, things that are looking for early aggressive damage when they can get it. They're not going for the super slow play bleed
Yeah.
out because it's just hard to execute. And things that happen fast, you're going to lose fast or you're going to win fast. If you catch one tank out of position and you pick them, like, it's pretty much game over. Like, you win.
Mm-hmm.
So, aggression is a good thing. Obviously, aggression can be a bad thing if the other team's ready for it. But I think it's just an adjustment period that everyone's taking, and it's good to see. It's more exciting, right? It's more fun to play against too. So, yeah, it's fun, and I don't really expect it to be. Of course, we're going to still see camps, but I think at the moment, the meta's only going to get fast, or stay as fast as it is now, or get even faster. So, on a majority of map.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for taking your time today, JT, to have a chat with me. Really enjoy it, and congratulations on where you're sitting at the moment, and good luck for the rest of the double round robin.
Thank you, Jim. Nice to be here as always, and I guess I'll hopefully be back for season 5.
Oh, yeah. Oh, definitely, mate. Well, barring any unforeseen circumstances, you'll definitely be back. I love our chats.
Might come back as a member of the Panthers. Would be exciting.
Hey, that's it. You get to bring JS home for a change.
Exactly.
All right, mate. Catch you later.
Bye. All right, thank you, Jim.
Hello, everybody. Thank you so much, JT, for that. I always love talking to the World of Tanks guys. They're just such a good chat. And like normally the chats go for about 10 or 15 minutes. That one went a little bit longer because, like, you might have noticed, Natty, JT brings out the good questions and always gives me something to jump off there for another question.
Yeah, it's good. It's a good back and forth discussion with JT always, which is lovely.
But how are you doing? Glad to be back for another week myself. Yeah, what's going on?
It's always good to be back for nuts and bolts. No giant cockroaches this week, thankfully.
Oh, I meant to ask how that went, like, because I was wondering if that, like, cockroach did what I thought he was going to do and, like, ate his way out of the glass and was currently roaming around the house somewhere.
No, so it was a very successful capture and release. I didn't go the Rex Hunt kissed the cockroach as I released it on its way, but...
I just wondering if Rex Hunt ever did that, or if he just limited his kissing and catch and release to fish. I'm going to guess that, yes, it was just fish.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. But, what goes on in a man's house, we don't judge.
That's it. I'm just picturing him, like, catching all the bugs for his kids and, like, giving them a kiss as he throws them out the door now. Yeah. Anyway, for those of you that are too young to remember that Rex Hunt had a fishing show before he was a football commentator, even though I don't think he's even a football commentator anymore. That's what he used to do.
Oh, gosh. I didn't even realise that reference really dates me, doesn't it?
That's okay. You're not the only one there. But you know what's not dated is some World of Tanks action. And that's why I was talking to JT, because, I as much as I do like talking to JT, we were talking about some nice World of Tanks stuff and about their game against the Adelaide Action X. Now, unfortunately for you, Natty, the Scorpions did beat the Action X 3-1.
I was reading your report because it was so exciting at the beginning, and I was like, and then,
So it sounds like my writing did it at least. Like I pumped it up and then just like
yeah. You had me on the hook. I was like,
But it was a very entertaining game to watch. And of course we had the North Sydney Sentinels going on against the Bulldogs there. Sentinels have just seemed to have turned it on in the last couple of weeks, and they're playing the way that we know they're capable of, and they beat the Bulldogs 3-1 as well. The last game was a 3-1 as well, but probably not quite the way people were expecting it to go. Because the Panthers, who were in last place before the beginning of the last round, beat the Conquerors, who were first going into that round. So
that was just amazing. When I was like, I can only imagine what I was like watching it. I was reading it and I was like, wait a minute.
I get
Wait
excited.
a minute.
I have to really hold back, but yeah, no, my bias showed a little bit there.
No. That's fine. As long as you call it out, it's fine.
That's it. I'll just tell everybody that's my teams, just so you know, and I get excited. It's gonna happen because I'm a competitive sporting person. Doesn't matter whether it's esports or field sports. I like a good game of anything, and for Panther supporters, that was a really good game. And in fact, you know what? I'm not even flicking over my scenes properly. Why didn't anybody remind me I had scenes to flick over so you could all see the results? Oh my
goodness, I'm so sorry.
No, that's all right. That's you know what it is? It's I'm not frazzled enough after doing the weekly show because there wasn't a weekly show tonight.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, and so I had too much time to sit there and think about things, and I'm overthinking it. And
no,
yeah.
That's okay. We're
right.
there now. We're on the trolley. We'll keep going this way now.
It. I've got my hand on my stream deck. It's all good. But then let's have a look at the ladder, because now you can see where the Conquerors were first. Now they've dropped down to third after that one, because with the Scorpions and the Sentinels getting their wins as well, that's popped them up the ladder a bit. And it's also brought Perth off the bottom of the ladder as well. So that's good for us. And look, they're still on the same points as Adelaide Action X. So that battle for 5th place there is pretty tight. And even the Bulldogs, they're only one win away from coming up and getting into the top 4 there. So it's still a reasonably tight ladder there. Like, it doesn't take much. Like, Brisbane obviously have a hard job ahead of them, and the way they've been playing doesn't quite inspire confidence that they're going to be able to get up and take it. But Tanks is a funny game. You never know what's going to come out and what's going to happen there. But let's have a look at the fantasy teams. I'm getting better. I'm getting up there a little bit more.
Oh, you're still climbing?
I'm still climbing, but not at a rate that I would like, considering there's 3 rounds to go. God, if I put it like that, it's almost over. Almost finals time. And,
it is almost finals time.
Yeah, because that's... No, this was round 6, so 4 weeks.
4 weeks. Yeah, I think it's 4.
Yeah, because it's a double round robin, so 10 matches and then finals.
Yeah.
So you can see from the best possible team for the Fantasy League Team of the Week there, the Sentinels, Panthers and Scorpions faced it. And it was interesting because I was going through some old clips earlier on, and there was an interview from when I spoke to Bluey a couple of weeks ago. He's from the Conquerors, and we were talking about Raspberry from the Scorpions, because he quite regularly scores a lot of points. Like, he doesn't feature too much in the Team of the Week, but at 1 star, he's a bargain buy for your fantasy team.
Yeah, I bet you next season he's going to be an extra point.
Yeah, well, he was 1 star last season too, so yeah, maybe he will jump up a bit. But he also doesn't play all the games, which I think he's a bit of a bit player that comes in to fill a specific role and then might drop in and out of the team that way. So it's interesting, but yeah, he's good value there.
We might have to ask them how they work out the stars, if it's just on average how many points they accumulated last season and then averaged out that way.
I think it is something like that. They did give a little bit of an explanation about it on one stream, I think. But yeah, there's a way it's rated, and so it's a whole heap of different statistics, like the damage given, I think survivability as well, how much you penetrate, your accuracy. So yeah. I think there's a formula in the background that works out the points. So then it would probably just be a matter of, do you consistently score above this much that would give you your star ratings. So.
Gotcha. You might need to talk to whoever the math man is.
That's it. I might have to have a chat with Karath. He's a stats man. He might be able to give me some pointers. Yeah. So I think let's have a look at what's coming up for this Friday for the matches. So we have the Christchurch Conquerors and the Bulldogs. So Conquerors looking for a win after dropping down a ladder a little bit. They had built themselves up a little bit of a buffer, but all we could see there just 1 week and already that buffer's gone. Bulldogs desperate to get some points on the board as well, so that they'll be searching for a win there too. And my pick for match of the round, especially with the way the Panthers played last week, is Panthers versus Scorpions. Like, the Scorpions are always a top-notch team. They've kept their roster pretty much the same since the inception of the ANZPL. So the guys know each other. They play together well. Yeah, so I think that one's going to be a pretty good game to watch there. And lastly, we'll have the North Sydney Sentinels versus the Adelaide Action X there too. And Adelaide looking for some points on the board as well to keep in touch with that finals pack.
Yes. They'll bring it home this round.
You reckon? So
Yeah.
take it right up to the Sentinels.
Let's go. Let's go, boys.
That's it. Let's battle. Let's do it. Cool. But of course, there's not just the ANZPL that's going on. There's the ANZBL as well. So they played off on Monday. And it's been an interesting round so far because there are quite clearly I might say 4 teams that are better than the rest. So the Archers and the Hellcats aren't doing the best this season. But the Bundaberg Badgers, who are the new team on the scene this season, they've been doing quite well.
That was my pick.
Your pick? Unfortunately, they came up against the Cairns Comets this week, and because they've been doing really well themselves, the Comets, and the Badgers went down 3-1. The Wolverines as well have been having a stellar start to the season, and they beat the Auckland Archers 3-1, and the Canberra Centurions beat the Hawthorn Hellcats 4-0. So
clean sweep.
That's it, clean sweep right there for the Centurions. So Centurions are doing pretty well themselves. Like the first round, they played a tank down for various reasons we're not going to go into. So that was always at a disadvantage, but they did at least look decent with the plays that they were making with just those 4 tanks. So I think they're still a team to watch, but at the moment it's the Comets and the Wolverines really that I think are going to be the teams to beat. And really that's showing up because they're the 2 undefeated teams now. After three rounds, I think we're in now. They're the only 2 defeated teams, and it just so happens that they play each other on this coming Monday. So
interesting.
That will be really cool to see who takes home the Chocky Bickies there.
Sorry, I've not heard that saying before.
I was floundering a little bit there, and I went something like risk it for the biscuit, but we'll take home the Chocky Bickies. Yeah, that'll do. We'll do that.
I appreciate that a lot.
Yeah. Better than just the ordinary biscuits, chocolate biscuits, people.
Oh, yeah. Tim Tam Slams, baby.
Oh, hell yeah. I do have some Tim Tams in the cupboard. That might be my dessert tonight. Yum.
Oh, yum.
Cool. But, of course, first up, we've got the Archers versus the Centurions, and then the Badgers versus the Hellcats. So it'll be interesting to see how the Badgers bounce back against the Hellcats there, and maybe the Hellcats will be able to pull out a win or 2 themselves. And as well as the Archers, maybe they'll find some form against the Centurions right there. So for the ANZPL, they are Monday night from 7 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. It says 5 p.m. on there because it's in my time zone, which is Western Australia. And same for the ANZPL, Fridays from 7 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time over on twitch.tv/World of Tanks ANZ.
Plenty of tanks action.
That's it. Plenty of going-ons that we can have there. So, there's been a bit of international stuff happening recently as well, which is quite exciting. And I've got some footage to show you from HCS. I keep on wanting to call it HSC, but that's the old Eastern States like high
Year
school
12
examination thing.
Yeah.
HCS, so that's the Halo League there. So let's have a look at this. This is the closing stages of the grand final between Cloud9 and Sentinels there. So you can see so close to getting that Strongholds victory, and Cloud9 managed to take a stronghold, but then Sentinels just got it back. And it was, honestly, it was a very interesting sort of series to think about, because Cloud9 didn't drop a game the whole series except against Sentinels.
That's crazy.
Yeah, to the point where Sentinels sent Cloud9 to the lower bracket. They beat them 3-1 in one of the upper bracket finals, and then Cloud9's come through the lower bracket to the grand final and have been beaten 4-0 by Sentinels. So it's a really interesting thing to me that they would do that, to the point where even in the group stages they did not drop a game as well.
Wow.
Yeah,
that is impressive.
It really is. And look, and with a scoreline like that, you couldn't help but feel disappointed being Cloud9 there. But well done to the Sentinels on coming through with the victory there, because they did finish top of their group as well. So well done to them in taking out the first HCS event there in Kansas City. Because this was one of the things we were talking about when it came out. But for Halo Infinite to come out and have that path already for esports, like, that was majorly planned already, and it's just so cool to see these events come to fruition now.
Yeah, oh, absolutely right. I think they had a lot of intention on the release of Halo to invest in the esports section of their business, and it's coming through now. Like, it was from all accounts, from what I can tell, a really successful event. So fingers crossed, more Halo esports coming, and continuing investment from the Halo side as well.
Oh, definitely. I think there will be. And as well, for us OCE people, there was our representatives there, the Chiefs. Unfortunately, they didn't do so well, so they finished last in their group. Their group did contain Cloud9 as well, so there is that. But
yeah, they lost to the winners, which
which kind of makes you feel a little bit better. But yeah, they didn't manage to pick up a win. Luckily, in the format of the HCS, coming last in a group doesn't eliminate you; it puts you into round one of the lower bracket. But unfortunately, they also got beaten in the first lower bracket game as well. But congratulations to the Chiefs for making it that far. To compete on an international event is amazing, no matter how it goes for you, and you'll bring back that experience and reload for next season as well.
Oh, it's always the case. I think we've got that LAN handicap, latency/ping handicap, don't we? We're not used to playing with no ping.
Yeah, there was it was last week, I think. There was some, I can't quite remember what it was, but there was some tournament that was having some ping problems, and the people competing were complaining about it, and every single OCE gamer went and says, "Welcome to our world."
Yes. Yeah, I think they were complaining about 35 ping,
Yeah.
and we were just like, oh, how unfortunate for you.
Yeah. It's like 35 ping, like normal network latency is like 16 milliseconds, and you're complaining about getting 35. Go home. Go away. I don't want to talk to you anymore.
I mean, that is the benefit of having the LAN events. So
yes,
we're
that is
not
true.
dealing with the ping, which is nice, and it's good to see more of that coming back as well.
Yeah, oh, I can't wait. Like, just like things like DreamHack that are happening here that I'm still looking at, trying to work out if I can make it over to Melbourne for. Because
what are the dates for DreamHack again?
Hang on.
Are you going to quick?
I want to say it's September sometime. 2nd to the 4th of September.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we should do it.
We should.
I
really
feel like can we write it off on tax somehow?
Well, no. I mean, I reckon we could go there and we'll just do a little live show, and then we'll mill around and watch stuff, and yeah, I reckon that sounds good. Just write it off as a business expense would be good.
Yeah.
But no, I like there's so many things I'm looking at going, oh, because I booked my ticket for PAX. I'm going across for PAX, and I've got my flights booked for that already, so that's good. Still need to get accommodation, which I'm working on.
Yeah,
But I would love to go to Melbourne for DreamHack, and I would love to get across for the ANZPL finals at Fortress Melbourne as well. So I think
that would
that's
be
like, so
fantastic.
that's going across in June and in September and in October.
And you know what's in Melbourne next weekend as well at the
Oh,
Convention and Exhibition Centre?
oh, what?
BAM. Not this
Bam!
weekend,
Oh,
sorry, next weekend.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, that's
Battle
right.
Arena Melbourne.
Yep.
So lots of
Mm,
stuff going on. And yeah, again, really exciting. Land is coming back.
mm,
But
mm.
you know what was on at Fortress this last weekend?
What?
The CSGO event.
Oh, yes. CSGO. I do like me some CSGO, which I must admit I don't play very often. I played in a team with Reflex, like he held a little mini tournament, and I was terrible. I was making up numbers of it. But obviously, this is the LPL Pro 2022 Season 1. So these guys are a lot better than me. Don't watch me, watch these guys.
Yeah.
They, um, they had Vertex managed to take out a 3-0 win over DGG Esports. So that's pretty damn cool.
Yeah, no, it was quite impressive. I honestly had almost this slip by me, but Hussey, who is in our Game on Oz Discord, said he had a crazy weekend in Melbourne and had a big late night on Saturday partying with the boys celebrating the Vertex win because that win means that they get to go to Sweden and compete internationally.
That's awesome. I,
Yes.
so good. Love repping the OCE boys and girls to get over to the international events. It's going to be so cool.
Very, very
Cool.
cool. So we have that to look forward to as
Mhm.
well on the esports calendar coming up soon.
Yeah. And we had another thing that happened over the weekend as well was some TFT action with Gizmos and Gadgets.
We did. So, Gizmos and Gadgets was the name of this most recent set for TFT, and they had their international championship event, which is all run online. It's not a LAN event at the moment. Um, so we did have two Aussies qualify, well, two players from the OCE region. We had TXE and PNG Pingers.
Fingers?
Excuse
Yeah.
me for saying that incorrectly. Um, both of those guys did really well to make it into the finals, which was over 3 days. The field was 32 competitors. Unfortunately, Pingers didn't make it past the first day of competition, but TXC made it to the final day, which was super exciting. The OC guys just managed to sneak in there. Everybody underestimates our region, and then one of them normally makes it to the final day or at least day two of the competition, which is really, really exciting. Um, but what we did see for anybody who plays TFT is expectedly a lot of Siva played. So Siva is probably the strongest comp at the moment. You don't need to work too hard to make that build work, especially for these guys who are all pros. And we saw that a lot out on the field. The two Chinese players ended up making it in the first and second spots. There were six players from the China regions that qualified for the final 3 days, but there were two left on the final day, and they took out first and second.
That's it. And sharing in that, I think it's like a $300,000 prize pool with the first place player get to take home $48,000. Not a bad for a weekend's work.
Yeah, it was interesting because the top prizes were quite nice.
Mm.
That is a good pull in for a weekend's
Yeah.
work. Obviously, as you go down the field, there's a little bit less money on the table, but
Mm.
still relatively nice for an esport that I think is still growing. And I think Riot is still trying to find their feet on how to, appropriately promote the event and get in
Mm.
a large audience. But it is heading in the right direction, especially with two OC guys making the final.
Yeah.
So gotta
Well,
love
that's it.
that.
And TXT finishing 8th took home $11,000, and Pingers took home $3,500 for where he finished. So that, and even last place gets $2,500. So that's some pretty decent money right there.
Yeah, definitely not a bad day at the races. What was really interesting seeing from the player that came in first place was just their ability to play a whole lot of comps. So in the final day of competition, they won it in 4 games, and every game they played a different comp. So it just showed that they had a real variety and skill base available to them to just take advantage of what was being given to them. What was surprising was he pulled out a 8 bodyguard comp. So you have 6 bodyguards in the pool, and he also managed to luck in getting an augment to give him 2 extra bodyguard emblems. So
wow.
Yeah, it just meant that his lineup was super tanky. He had Jinx. So for anybody who plays League of Legends, you might know Jinx. She's a twin shot character in TFT. He put the bodyguard emblem on her as well, basically making her unkillable with an extra 2,000 HP and an extra 450 armor. So it was just a perfect final game for Lee.
And even you were saying he won it in 4 games, which is incredible because you get 8 points for a win. So that means you have to get at least 3 wins to get over your 18 points. And then you need to win another round after that. So he's placing pretty high during the first 3 rounds to get over those 18 points and then won the 4th one. That's incredible.
Yeah, there was actually a really interesting discussion that happened one of the days after the comp, just because they call this format the checkmate format. So you basically you reach checkpoint when you hit the 18 points, and then you've got to do the final checkmate, which means you have to get first place once you've gotten past that amount of points. And there was a discussion of whether it's an exciting format, and B, if it actually reveals who the best players are. Because some people feel like because there is a little bit of an RNG element to the game, you could just luck a really good draw, get the right items and the right characters and the right augments and luck that win and take it out, compared to if they just made it, you have to reach a certain amount of points, for example. It's a very interesting discussion.
Well, I guess with the having to get a first place after you've gotten to the points, that kind of, I think that's the trying to remove the RNG from it, because if you can get to the points, you can luck into that, but then you have to show consistency in getting that win as well. So I think the way they're doing it, because with that element of RNG, this is the best way to do it, I think.
Yeah, it's an interesting discussion, certainly to have. But I hopefully we'll just continue to see more investment from Riot, more comps and tournaments running to keep building the competitive space in TFT, and I got to go diamond so far this set, so you might see me competing next set.
That's it. Keep an eye out for Natty heading to the next Gizmos and Gadgets.
I'm on top 10%. Surely it's not that hard to get to top 1.
That's right. That's it. So that's one Riot esport that's happening. So that finished off over the weekend. There's another one that's kicking off next week, because it's been a little while, although we always seem to talk about this esport every week no matter what. But MSI starts next week. We get to see all our League of Legends favourites back again for that. So that's starting Tuesday. But there was an interesting tweet that you linked me to. The esports writer on Twitter was working on a write-up for all the teams in MSI, and he noticed that, I'm assuming it's a he actually, I'm not sure if it's he or a she, but
we'll go with they.
Yeah, we'll go with they. They noticed that the group that Order's in, it's the group with 3 teams in it. We've got Order, Evil Geniuses, and G2. All of them finished 4th in their domestic season. All of them went through the lower bracket, and all of them won 4 matches to win the domestic title. So
Yeah.
that's a little bit crazy. In like it's an interesting little numbers thing to me. Like I always like seeing the what's the right word, coincidences in numbers and how they fall sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird. Like you want to say that there might be something to it, but it clearly isn't. It's just there's been this massive coincidence happen across all these 3 regions, and then they've ended up in the same bracket as well. So yeah, just interesting quirk, and certainly for us, where we're interested in stats and numbers and things, it certainly caught my eye when I was scrolling through my feed the other day.
And even like if you read down in the thread a little bit, the esports writer's gone on to say Order went 12-2 in the LCO playoffs. G2 went 13-3 in their playoffs, and Evil Geniuses went 14-4 in their playoffs. It's just more numbers that probably really mean absolutely nothing, but are really quite interesting to see.
Yeah, what's the word? My brain keeps thinking synchronicity.
Mm.
But why? Who knows? But it's just
That's
it's
it.
yeah, it's interesting for sure.
Um, but yes, we can get some more League of Legends actions happening. So starting from next Tuesday, I did see someone had converted all the Order games to Australian time, but I've lost where that tweet was. But
Oh, it was on their Twitter
was
on
on Order's
on
Twitter. All right, let's
yeah.
once again live and dangerous. Let's
Yeah, it was beautiful. I remembered
yeah.
reading that tweet, just being like, "Oh, those times, mwah, chef's kiss." It was like the TFT tournament ended up being in our prime time in
Mm,
OCE, which for North America, they were kind of up at 3 a.m.
yeah.
to watch the beginning of the play, which they were very unhappy about, and created also a bit of difficulty for the players as well because it wasn't a LAN event. So
Yeah.
you've got the North American players having to be up at 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. Anyway, we'll
That's
talk
it.
about that another day.
That's
We're
it.
talking about order right now.
Yes, so May the 10th, so it's Tuesday, 8 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. They play G2. So that's really good for me. That's like 6 o'clock. That's dinner time. I can sit down with dinner and watch a game there. And then on the 11th at 7 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time against Evil Geniuses. Back-to-back games on the 12th of May for them, 6 and 7 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard. And then the 14th of May, which I'm kind of hoping is a Saturday, because that's, yes, it's a Saturday. 5, 6, 8, and 9 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard
Yeah,
Time.
that's a big day on that last
Oh,
day.
yeah. That's huge. And I feel sorry for all the teams involved there, because I'm guessing at 7 o'clock, probably G2 and Evil Geniuses will play, and maybe even at 10 o'clock as well. Or maybe 4 o'clock, depending on which way they go. You don't know.
Yeah, yeah,
Well,
yeah.
actually, I'm sure someone knows. It's just not in the information, and honestly, not something that I care about because I want to see Order win.
Yes, absolutely. That's what we want. We want to see them crush it
It's it.
and
Order
take
out
it
of the
to
group stages into Rumble, and then let's go one further. Let's go one further. Let's get to semi-finals.
semi-finals.
Yep,
He's calling it.
I'm calling it. Let's go. Come on, Order. Bring it on. Just continue your winning ways. You beat them down. You beat Pentanet against the odds. You beat Chiefs against the odds. Let's just keep it going.
Yes, let's go. Let's go.
Yeah. But that's it for us here from Nuts and Bolts tonight. Thank you, JT, again for giving the interview. Thank you, Natty, for joining us again tonight. Always a
Thank
pleasure.
you. Always a pleasure. And thank you especially to Raven Sky for hanging around and giving us a bit of cheek in chat.
Listen, she always gives cheek. No, it's good. It was a pleasure having her around. It was like
Yeah.
when I did the stupid o'clock in the morning Saints Row announcement. She was there with me. Like it was 3 a.m. or something, and she was there keeping me company and having a chat. Oh, and Rez is here as well. Awesome. Thanks everybody for
Thanks,
sticking
Rez.
around. And we will see you some other time. Thank you so much for stopping by to watch this video. If you like what you're seeing, why not check out this video here? Or if you really like us, drop us a subscribe. And don't forget to like and comment as well. Thanks, and we'll see you next time.